Okay, so Legends of the Fall, arguably one of the best movies ever created, in my opinion. And for those of you who haven't seen Legends of the Fall, Brad Pitt, Tristan in the movie, has a really cool knife, and it's got this antler handle. If I can figure it out, there's a picture of it. But yeah, he's got this knife with this really cool antler handle, and you can see it kind of like forks out right there. So I today am going to try to make his knife. And the plan here is, I guess, is I'll like cut it off here and then cut it off here, and then probably cut it off there, and then this is going to be the handle, and then I'm going to try sawing it down the middle just until about like right there, and then I'm going to saw down here, and then once I make my blade, I'm going to stick the tang down into that, and then I'm going to take this string here, it's called sinew, I'm going to wrap it up really tight. So I know that probably didn't make much sense, but I'm going to give her a try, so wish me luck. Alright, so I've made lines on all the places that I want to cut. So I'm going to cut right there, and then I'm going to cut this little rough end off. Okay, so I decided to cut this out with the grinder, which was a bad decision because antler reeks. I have like a cloud of antler dust in this whole garage, and it's awful. But yeah, anyways, I got my two little ends, or the forks, whatever you want to call them, cut. And then I cut the rough part off, and then I cut that one little fork off. This little thing. No, not that. This one. See, it used to go there. I cut that off. So now I'm left with my handle here. So I'm going to split this down the middle here. Well, first I think I'll make my blade. But yeah. Alright, so I just kind of freehanded this blade out, so I'm going to cut it out, and then here's some steel I found. Looks like I just welded some beads on it one day, but I should have enough room to get a blade out of that. So I'm going to cut this out and then trace it onto this steel. So yeah. Okay, so I had barely just enough room to cut this out here, trace this out into my metal, but you can see I got it traced out. So I'm going to take this grinder here and just cut that blade out real quick, so yeah. Okay, so I got my knife blade cut out here, and I kind of cleaned it up a little bit with this bench grinder, and all I'm going to do now is put a flap disc onto that grinder there and try to clean some of this rust off there, and then some of that splatter from those welds there got on this blade, so I'm going to try to grind those off too and just try to make it look nice. Okay, so I took this grinder here and I knocked off as much rust and other stuff I could off there, and all I'm going to do now is kind of just freehand a bevel in there with this grinder because I don't have the patience to go over this with a file for like 2 hours. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and freehand a bevel into it. Alright, I just finished up with my bevels here. They came out pretty good for a freehand job, I guess, but I put a little bevel up there so the point comes to a more distinct point. So now I guess all there is to do is I might clean that blade up just a bit, but so I put some 320 grit sandpaper on that palm sander there. I just went over that blade with it to try to give it a bit nicer of a finish. And it worked a little bit. I think it looks better. So yeah, there she is. So now all I'm going to do is cut my little thing in there so my tang of my blade can just slide into that. And I'll epoxy it in. Okay, so now I'm going to go put this piece of antler into the vise, and I'm going to try to cut my little notch, groove, whatever that thing is right there, and then I can just slide my blade into that. Okay, so here's the plan here. I got my antler, and I traced out my little knife tang right here, so I'm just going to take this grinder and then just try my best to cut that out. So yeah, here goes nothing. Okay, so that went better than I expected it would. I've got my little notch cut in there or whatever, so the blade fits in there pretty good. I'm going to put my epoxy in there, and then probably you can see where I kind of mashed that tip of that knife down trying to hit it with the hammer, but I'm going to put this epoxy in there and then probably drive that blade down in there a little bit more with that knife, or not the knife, the hammer there, and then I'm going to take that string and just tie it really tight. So yeah. Okay, so I got some epoxy mixed up here, so I'm just gonna take it, smear some on the tang of that knife, then smear some on the inside of here, and then just hammer it down in there as far as I can. And take this string and wrap it up as tight as I can with it, so yeah. Okay, so I got everything epoxied in there. Now, it's just time to take this string and just wrap it up in there real tight, so I'll get it started, then show you guys what I'm doing. Okay, so I got my big piece of thread all strung out here, and I just tied a simple little overhand knot right at the top there, and I'm just gonna wrap it up as tight as I can all the way around there. Okay, so new plan here. I put even more epoxy in there, and then I put 3 big clamps on here, just pulling that stuff like all really close together. So I'm gonna leave this here for like 24 hours. This isn't 5-minute epoxy. I'm not sure what it's called or where I got it, but it takes like hours to dry, so you're not rushing around like you would with 5-minute epoxy. So I'm gonna leave this here to dry, and once it dries, I'll get back with you guys. Okay, so it's been around 24 hours now, and you can see the blade doesn't really match up with the antler right there, so I'm just going to take the bench grinder and just grind that down where it lines up with that antler perfectly, and then some of the epoxy you can see ran down like on the antler, so I'm going to take this knife there and just kind of clean that up a little bit, and then all I'll have left to do is wrap that string around it, and then I might clean that blade up some more. That's it. Okay, so I got the tang there even with the handle, but whenever I was doing this, I guess I got that steel a little bit too hot and it melted that epoxy again, so now I have to wait for that to re-dry, so yeah. I'm gonna throw some more epoxy in there and I guess give it another like 24 hours to dry. Okay, so here's the finished product. I know I kind of skipped showing you guys some stuff, but I cleaned that blade up really nice, as good as I could. And I like how the blade came out, but not so much the handle. The wrap on there isn't the best. I mean, it kind of looks authentic, I guess, or authentic, I don't know how you say it. But I don't know, I would have liked that to come out a little bit better, and you know, the tang's not the prettiest in the world, so I have an idea for that though. I think one day I'll probably take some, like, probably wood dust or something and mix that with epoxy and kind of just smear it over that and then sand it down smooth where you can't really see that. But overall, it came out all right, I think. Heck, I'm happy with it. I think it looks pretty cool. So, yeah. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for making it this far in the video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.